In this video, we are going to take a look at the different types of user-controlled discovery attributes that a user can customize in WhatsUp Gold 23.1. Users will be able to create customized SNMP attributes, WMI attributes, and InfoSet attributes from existing data that WhatsUp Gold has already stored in the database. First, we will take a look at creating a custom SNMP attribute. For all of these examples, we will create attributes from the subrole, but this can also be done from the primary role if required. As a side note, the majority of attributes generally get added from the subroles. For our custom SNMP attribute example, we will modify the router subrole. From the subrole, we'll select the attribute section and add a new attribute. In this example, we will add an attribute that will populate the system OID. We will give the attribute a name, and the attribute will need the following naming convention: percentage discovery.snmp open square bracket, followed by the OID we want to get the attribute name of. In this example, we will look for the system OID, so we'll use 1.3.6.1.2.1.1.2.0 and close square bracket. Click OK and save the role. On an existing device with a router role, we can now rescan or refresh the device details. Once the scan is complete, we can open the device properties and select the Attributes tab, and we can now see the newly added attribute. It's worth noting that this attribute will now be automatically added to any newly discovered devices with the role of router. And if we want all other existing devices with the router role to have this attribute, we will need to run a rescan or refresh device details against those devices, and the information will be pulled directly from the device. If the information is not available on the device, as of WhatsUp Gold 23.1, the attribute will be created with an empty value. Other custom SNMP discovery attribute examples can be seen on the LoadMaster and FlowMon subroles. For example, on the LoadMaster subrole, we retrieve the firmware version as seen here, and on the FlowMon subrole, we populate the hostname, contact, and email address. Next, we'll take a look at adding a custom WMI attribute. In this example, we'll modify the Windows Server subrole and add a new attribute. For this example, we'll add an attribute that will retrieve the computer name. The value should have the naming convention of %discovery.wmi open square bracket, followed by the namespace that we want to query. In this case, we'll use root CIMV2, and then the object we want to query. In this case, we want to query win32_computer system for the name. We can then OK and save the role. Again, to add this attribute to an existing device with a Windows Server role, we can rescan or refresh device details. And once the scan is complete, we can open the device properties, select the Attributes tab, and we can see the newly added attribute. And again, this new attribute will be applied to all newly discovered devices with the Windows Server subrole. And if we want to apply this attribute to all existing devices with the Windows Server subrole, we can select all of those devices and rescan or refresh device details. Next, we'll take a look at InfoSet discovery attributes. InfoSets are pieces of information already collected from devices and stored in the database. So this means that WhatsUp Gold already has access to this information, and by adding such attributes means we do not need to run a rescan or refresh on the devices. As an example, we'll add two new attributes to the router subrole. We'll add an attribute for the system OID, and the value will have the format of %discovery.infoset open square brackets system/system/system-OID close square bracket. And we'll add another attribute for IP address, with the value having a format of %discovery.infoset open square bracket device-details/device-details/IP close square bracket. These info sets are available in the database, and we will show how to retrieve them shortly. We can then OK and save the subrole. To apply these new attributes to existing devices, all we need to do is select the required device or devices in the discovered network and update monitoring. Because InfoSet information is already stored in the database, it means we do not need to run a rescan or refresh of the device, only to update it into the monitored network. We can then see the new attributes applied to the updated device or devices. To find out which InfoSet information is available to use as a discovery attribute, we can run the following SQL query against the WhatsUp database. As of the creation of this video, there are 220 InfoSet attributes available, and these are subject to change per release. The makeup of the InfoSet value during its creation is InfoSet name / InfoSet path. So we can easily see here the earlier example of the InfoSet IP address. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this training.